Good morning, YouTube. Today is Friday, September 6th, and the NFL has started off with the perfect script. They got us again. The Ravens lose by a toe. Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning. Just another toe behind again.
Yep, just a little bit. What a good game. Hey, I love it. Football's back. I'm a happy boy.
Yeah, I'm still boycotting the NFL night games second half. I think they start the games too late, so every time they have a night game, I boycott the second half. Just go to bed.
There was a weather delay last night, Tom. You can't.
I might have caught the third quarter, if not.
Tonight we got from Brazil on Peacock. So there we go. We're breaking
8:15.
Oof. Tom will be in bed by halftime.
Hey, we're hitting the road today, so I mean, we might be partying late. Who knows? I might be able to catch the second half of this one.
Awesome. Anth, any plans for today?
No, man. No big plans. Just getting some work done, doing some pre-approvals, and enjoy the Friday night lights.
Awesome. That's right. That's absolutely right. So what we're going to talk about today, fellas, is the changing market. The dust has settled a little bit. We're roughly 30 days into the new changes in Pennsylvania. And pretty much we're going to talk about what we're seeing out there. We're going to tell you what we think is the best approach to take and go from there. This is just our opinions, but we all have seen multiple deals come across our desk in the last 30 days. We're seeing what listing agents are kind of offering, what we're hearing from listing agents. And frankly, if you're a buyer's agent, it's time to get excited. We got rates dropping. We got a jobs report coming out this morning. We got a market that's softening in Pittsburgh that isn't as much as a seller's market. If you saw the Post-Gazette article a few days ago, the market's taking a little bit longer for houses to sell. These are not the COVID years. Houses were selling in hours and days. They are not necessarily doing that. Houses are sitting a little bit. That means if you're a buyer, you don't have to be scared to put in a competitive offer, or a buyer's agent to be scared to put in a competitive offer. And the new rules have never made that easier to do.
No, I agree. I think this whole process, since it started, the last 30 days have run very smooth. I did not expect this. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to be mass chaos. I thought things were going to be issues left and right. I think it's running smoother than it did prior to. Prove me wrong. I'm like that guy sitting at the table with the little tablecloth.
There is a sector of agents out there that are confused still. I think they're trying to overcomplicate it just because maybe they're just so used to a certain way of doing business that you just got to kind of get used to the new way. But that's what we're here for.
And I do see that being a big hiccup for the agents possibly on that first meeting talking about that commission. But I do think, if they're confident and talk to their buyers and just say, hey, I'm a great agent. I'm going to be able to get you this commission paid for by somebody else. You're not going to have to pay it. I'm the agent to do that for you. I think that's going to be beneficial.
I absolutely agree. And we're going to get into that approach and why we think it should not be difficult to get your commission paid for by the seller like it's always been. It's just a different approach of getting it done through the sales contract. But we're going to go over that. Like I said, we feel like not a lot should change. We feel like listing agents have done a very good job explaining things to sellers and how it will work. And we're just going to keep on trucking along and get our way through this. That sound good, Anthony LaPera?
Sounds like a plan. Let's rock and roll.
All right. So first place we're going to start is what Tom said. We feel if you're a buyer's agent, and I mean, you guys can tell me if you feel something different, but I feel like we all kind of have talked offline and feel the same way. If you're a buyer's agent in Pennsylvania with the Pennsylvania sales contract that everyone uses, there is section 3A to ask the seller to pay buyer broker commission. We feel every negotiation should start with that filled out with whatever you have your BAC agreed to with your buyer. That's how you should start. If you're going to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's what I get paid. Here's what I work for. Don't worry. I'm a great buyer's agent. I am going to negotiate with the seller that this gets paid for by the seller, not out of your pocket. It's that easy to put it in 3A. You don't need the CBC. You don't care what the seller's offering because you're going to negotiate it. You don't care what they're offering. You don't need to know if there's a CBC. If there's a CBC, we'll strike it, we'll move on, and we'll keep on trucking. That's not going to change anything. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a loan officer. This is just my opinion. But am I wrong? Is anyone disagreeing with that so far?
No, that is my feels as well. I feel like you should just ask for it. And if this listing agent comes back to you and says, I already have a CBC, well, great. Then we'll just cross that off and go from there. I think it should be something that's part of every offer and built into every offer, regardless of what it looks like.
And Anth, that leaves 3B for regular old seller assistance. Leave it blank if you don't need it at first. If the buyer still needs seller assistance, fill out 3A and 3B. Put the offer in for what's best for the buyer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much has changed. I mean, the biggest thing is how is the agent getting paid, right? I mean, it gives a better time to negotiate. I mean, it's a solid time that you can work with your buyer and actually negotiate a solid price for them. So, I mean, with the past, I mean, everything was basically highest and best, no seller's assist, waive all inspections. You know, that's not the case now. So even if a buyer's agent has their BAC and whatever their negotiated commission compensation is going to be, it's on the BAC. It's already signed with the buyer. They're going to pay that if the seller is not going to. But you can always put the offer in and ask for seller's assist. You know, if you have somebody asking for 3% compensation and then also 3% seller's assistance, then ultimately your offer is going to net the seller less than somebody just going in and asking for 3% seller's assistance and the buyer's taking care of it. You know, so there's definitely ways to do it. I think buyer's agents need to actually, you know, structure it to make it better for the buyer. You're going to get paid. You know, just you have to have that conversation and have your BAC with the buyer ahead of time.
And here's why we believe, first off, round 2, Tom versus the Sun, not going well for Tom. So keep an eye on that.
90 degrees this time. I mean, I can't even see anything, but
keep an eye on that. But Tom is losing bad to the Sun out there. But the reason we believe that is possible is on the flip side, when we talk to listing agents, how they are going in and negotiating with sellers. That's the key. We need to understand the market, what's currently going on in the market and what can be accepted and not accepted in the market. So again, in my eyes, what I'm seeing is most listing agents not getting a CBC signed, only negotiating their side of the commission, which makes most sense. Just worry about your side. Don't worry about a CBC. You don't need a CBC. But they're saying, hey, Mr. Seller, for example, you're only going to pay me 3% commission, down from the original 6 you would have had to pay a year ago. Now, the kicker is the buyer may come in and ask you to pay that extra 3%. But if they don't, you win. If it's a competitive market, none of the buyers put an offer on your house that's asking for any commission, you win. But just in case they do, we're going to price that into the sale of your home. So it is already priced in there, buyers agents. Nothing has changed there. It is already priced into the price of that home. You just have to ask for it. It's there to be asked for. That's why we're saying fill out 3A to start and see where it goes from there. It's that easy. It's already in the price. Go ask every listing agent. No listing agent is dropping purchase prices. And guess what? if your buyer isn't paying the commission, there's nothing wrong than offering, or if your buyer is paying your own commission, there's nothing wrong than asking under the asking price potentially, because you know there's 6% commission priced into that home potentially, and the seller's only paying out 3%. Don't let the sellers continue to win. This is not 2021 where we're lined up around the block and buyers have to waive everything. Buyers are allowed to win in the market too sometimes. So
100%. And the buyer's agent have to be running comps to make sure that home's worth it, because who says that listing agent knows that home is worth that much? I mean, you have to do your research as the buyer's agent to know what the price of the home should be as well.
I just don't want buyer's agents to have apprehension on asking for commission to be paid in Section 3A. I feel like that's going to be more of a normal at this point than a rare occurrence. But again, this is my personal feeling. That's what I'm seeing out there, but that's what I would continue. If that continues to be the way, then this market will continue to truck and there's not going to be much hiccup at all. As you're talking about, like in the last 30 days, we're very smooth so far.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any listing agents pricing their houses without that commission in it or whatnot. They all have it because why would they not want to get the higher sales price with all the comparables from the last 6 months? So I feel like it's in there on all of them. Ask for it.
That's it. Anthony, got anything to finish us up here? Oh, sheesh.
No, buddy.
Sheesh.
Did you want me to pull up that? Did you want me to pull up that article?
You with the muting. It's rough over here.
Dude, it's kind of crazy how bright that sun is.
And there was the article from the Post-Gazette that Anth pulled up that does show that the market is cooling a little bit. That right here, Danita from Berkshire Hathaway says houses are definitely weeks on market as opposed to days or hours. It was literally days or hours during, 2020, 2021. So yes, interest rates were low, but getting into a home and getting an offer accepted was not the easiest approach out there. So it's always big when you make the papers. And it is showing that it's not as much of a seller's market as it once was. And one of the best things about working with a real estate agent is they can tell you exactly what's going on in the market, what you need to do to get those offers accepted.
Yep. No, I mean, working with an agent is one of the most helpful things. They handle a lot of business that when you're buying a house that you don't even realize.
That's it. That's our Friday show, fellas. Great episode. See you on the other side.
See ya.